Dr. Smith, physical therapist here, and in this video I'm going to be consulting for a Las Vegas-based home care agency. This will not only answer their questions, but you or your agency's questions as well, in addition to highlighting my consulting skills. Now, to get a hold of me, you can email me at drsmithdpt@gmail.com, but please note that my consulting rate is $90 per hour. Even if it takes less than an hour, that is still the rate due to the agencies I've helped, the therapists I've helped, and my time being valuable. So I am in a different setting if you haven't noticed. Sorry if there's some ambient noise. I'm actually up north. It's a bit cold outside, clearly, but hopefully I'm speaking loud enough and have it set up enough that you guys can hear me okay as I go into this consult for First Rate HC Las Vegas. So we're going to go into the email and I'm going to answer the questions. Hi Doc, we enjoy your YouTube videos on therapy. We are a Las Vegas-based home health agency preparing for PDGM. PDGM is the patient-driven grouping model going into effect January 1st, 2020 due to CMS's new physician fee schedule. I have plenty of videos on that as well on this channel. Just search through it and make sure you subscribe so you're up to date with all the new content coming out. Or if you want me to make videos directly for you, then you might save on the consulting fee. Okay? So they agree with my view that only neuro cases should require more than 7 to 8 visits, but they're getting some resistance from a few therapists with regard to leg fractures and maintenance cases. So we're going to break this down into 2 parts. Okay? With leg fractures, if it's a hairline fracture or a fracture that just needed casting for some stabilization but wasn't that bad, then if your therapist can't teach them what they need to do before they go to outpatient or even manage it on their own within 7 visits, your therapists suck and you probably need some new ones. That being said, if it's a serious fracture like somebody ran over their leg, they dropped a boat on their hand, something like that where you see complete just obliteration of bones, then yes, you're going to require more visits. Again, it's going to be case by case. But again, if it is hairline fractures and we know that, stress lays down bone, it heals bone, and your therapist promotes healing, as well as should be able to educate your patients on how to actually manage it on their own because the goal of rehab is independence, that if they're saying that for a hairline fracture and it's not, a complete mess with the fracture, and it hasn't been, like if it's been reset with pins and rods and so on, still it's back in place and they should be able to manage it. Now if it's one of the crazy fractures where it's just everywhere, again, that's going to take more time, but it's going to be case by case basis, and you guys would have to look at the fractures and I would have to know exactly what fracture you're talking about. But even then, even if it's been fixated, they're going to be good within 7 to 8 visits if your therapist doesn't suck. Now you're going to go into maintenance cases. So maintenance cases depends. Maintenance cases is mostly for MS and so on. One thing you can do is you can either get a Part B license and just transfer them to your Part B if you feel that you're going to risk maintenance for MS and so on. Or you can contract out with somebody that has a Part B license to come in and you can kind of dump them to Part B, pick them back up, dump them to Part B, pick them back up. That is gaming the system a little bit, but at least you're not maxing out Part A and you're going to reduce audit risks that way. And again, it is a bit of gaming the system, but it's gaming the system where the patient is still getting the care that they need. They're just going on and off Part A, Part B, and with a neurodiagnosis that mostly requires maintenance, that's actually okay. You can probably keep them on Part A the whole year, but just to be safe, you might want to put them on Part B for a bit, just to say they tried it as well. Now, this gets a little bit challenging when they are homebound, if it's severe MS or ALS or something like that. But that's my solution to that. And again, we're going to go into the next part here where you say that you want your therapist to go 14 plus times, or your therapist wants to go 14 plus times, and you're trying to train them on PDGM and a couple of things for license liability. So before I answer this question, we're going to go into the next sentence here so we can get my full thoughts on this. So you also have very high pay rates, 90 plus, which limit your ability as well. So you're going to lose money. But if we lose money, you can't stay in business. So some of our therapists care about the patient and themselves, but not the agency. Some are understanding, some are not. So you have to realize that you're getting, 90 plus a visit. Let's just say 100 for easy numbers, 1,400 times per patient. That's $1,400 per patient. Now, under that old model, that made sense because that's what drove reimbursement. Now, if your therapists don't understand that healthcare is a business in the United States, then they need to either accept that, start their own business, or do something else. Because healthcare is a business in the United States, and the days of 1,400 plus per patient are going to be over due to the PDGM. Now they're going to get 700 to 800 instead, and if you pick up another patient, you can make up for that actually. It depends on your caseload and your census. Now, when it comes to that, the issue that I've had is marketers usually suck. Like, I've ran Facebook ads for agencies because my marketing team didn't know how to run a fucking Facebook ad. And again, that's a whole nother story. But when your DPT is training your marketing team, you think there'd be an issue there. Again, though, look at the growth of my YouTube channel, look at the content I put out, look at all the other stuff I'm involved in. I have my hands in a lot of different projects and so on, but I do believe that if you're going to be marketing, you need to market directly to the patient. Now, this is a whole nother issue that's going to help you with your business, and I'm going to help everyone else as well. So just like I make these videos, I market to therapists, agencies, anybody interested in PDGM, or other random shit I put on my channel, my Instagram, and so on, like my drone photography, blah, 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 blah. But my main message has been mostly home health and PDGM. It's marketed directly to people that want to know about it. So you're going to have to stop doing the bundled payment bullshit. Stop trying to market to physicians. Stop trying to market to hospital groups and just market to the patient. Like if you fire all your non-DPTs, and if you're an MPT or a BSPT and you're watching this, you're probably like, fuck this guy. Like, just hear me out. And if you're an agency, you're gonna want to hear this. So if you just do that, and you get all DPTs, you mark that all your physical therapists are doctoral trained. Well, and you mark that to the patients. You run a Facebook ad to the patient. You know, you can target them on Facebook. You can do audiences. I can actually make a video on that showing you how to do all that. You create audiences and all of that. You market directly. Well, what's going to happen? Your patients are going to tell their physician, their primary, and so on, if it's managed care, Medicare, blah, 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 whoever they need a referral from, if they need a referral, they are going to say, oh, I saw this ad and they're doctoral trained. And yes, senior citizens do use the internet. I have some of my prior patients who have been Facebook friends with me who are 97 plus years old, but they go on Facebook and they're ALF, ILF, etc. So they are on it and they do want the highest educated person working on them because they believe that's going to help them. But you run the ad towards 65 plus year olds or even their kids who want the best care for their parents. So you can even target their children and they're like, oh, you're getting home care physical therapy. Well, have you seen this agency has all doctoral trained therapists? All their therapists are doctors. So we're going to send you with them and that's going to set you ahead of your competition. Now, if everyone else is doing that, yes, it gets a little bit harder. But honestly, I'm telling you, nobody's doing that right now. A lot of people are way behind. I think it's 1993. They're taking physicians to lunches. Most of my friends that are physicians are like, I don't even want this fucking lunch. This is a waste of time. I can't even hit my macros. This is all shit donuts. I'm throwing them in the trash, etc. So that's how you get the business in. And sometimes people get mad at the therapist because there's a low caseload. Again, that falls on your marketers. And if your marketing sucks, or if your message sucks, or if you're targeting the physicians and not the actual patient, because the patient's going to go with who they know can help them. Okay? So they might get a referral from their physician, etc. But if they know that you can come to their house, provide therapy, and you have a doctoral trained team, that is where you're going to see the most census come in, and that's where your therapists are going to be happier. You're going to be in business longer. You're going to be able to, keep the pay rate the same, but get more patients coming in. So you say some of your therapists care about the patients and themselves, but not, so yeah, again, when they're going from 1,400 to 700, they're going to whine and cry and blah blah blah, etc. I mean, that's honestly, I'm gonna get a lot of shit for saying this, but I mean, the reason therapy gets kind of shit on is because I believe it started out as a woman's profession. The woman just likes to get stepped on over. That's changing now with the Me Too movement and so on. And I know there's lots of dislikes going on this video right now, but honestly, that is the issue. Is that they just accept it, they get upset, they say this. People are starting to stand up for themselves now, but it's coming to a point where you have to change, you have to adapt. And if your therapist can't change or adapt and wants to whine and cry and not make a system for themselves, then do you really want that person on your team? I've always said if the system doesn't work for you, doesn't support you, you make your own system, which is why I have all these other projects going. I still have a full time job on top of doing this and other projects that I've been working on. So I've created backup systems, exit plans, and so on. And I even tell people all the time, if you want to go into a profession or whatever and you want to work for someone else the rest of your life, you're kind of, setting yourself up to settle. And we don't want you to settle. And you don't want your therapist to settle. You don't want your agencies to settle. I know this has kind of got on a weird tangent rant here, but hopefully it's coming all back together now where, you guys are prepared for the challenges. I'm trying to help people be prepared for the challenges. And then we're going to go into the next question here before I go off on another tangent. But are you finding ageism by diagnosis? So yes, So, and we'll answer this too, a fracture case. So by diagnosis, yes, now that it's nursing driven, and you saw my calculator that say if it's just an open reduction internal fixation of a femur or so on, and let me get this stupid fucking thing out of here, uh, femur or so on, then you're only going to get about $1,700 per patient per 30 days, which is, again, you can't keep those rates up if that's going to be the case. However, if you code it, and I'm not telling you about it, they actually do have, a metabolic disorder such as diabetes, well, then it becomes about $3,400 per 30 days. So what you're going to see is the cases that have the more complex comorbidities going on, you're going to get a much higher reimbursement. And because of that, you're allowed to have more visits and allowed you to continue to pay your therapist. Now, how about a fracture case? As I said, you're looking at 3,400 plus to 1,700. So those are going to be limited. Unfortunately, patients are going to be hurt in the system at first, but if you do this right and you kind of cut your costs a bit early, you're actually going to make more on the back end if you do it right. You understand the reimbursement, you understand your cash flow. You got to control your money, especially as a business, and you can't be bleeding out money and going bankrupt or anything like that. And again, I know this question came to me because you're like, I want to pay my therapist well. I'm trying to explain to them what's going on. They don't want to listen to me. They don't understand healthcare is a business. And but I also need to keep my agency in business. And, like, you can't just give people whatever they want, and you can't do whatever you want. You have to be realistic, and you're being realistic by being ahead of these changes. Again, we're not going to know how much this is impacted until about the first 3 months of next year. But as I said before, you might want to look into getting a Part B credentialing or using a staffing agency that has Part B credentials, so you can, maybe pass it off to them, or then come back on if it's maintenance and so on. That's probably one of the best ways to keep cash flow coming in and not be shorted. Again, make sure that you're not overdoing therapy. Make sure that you're documenting that you're educating the patient, or maybe you just need to get better therapists to understand healthcare as a business. And if you're a therapist watching this video with this group, you're probably like, fuck this guy, like, whatever, bro, I don't care. But, but realistically, if you are a therapist watching this, healthcare is a business. The reason that you are getting paid as much as you are is because the agencies make more money than that off of you. And this goes back to outpatient and so on. Like, we see outpatient reimbursements of 160 plus, and they're paying the therapist $27. The same thing happens in home health and skilled nursing and so on. You tend to get a percentage of what you're bringing in, but your license ultimately makes you like in a machine that generates money. And if you're not generating money, nobody's going to pay you because you provide less value. So how do you provide more value? As I said, you have other options. You might want to take charge of the Facebook ads that I mentioned. You want them take charge of these other things. Again, I'll probably do it better if you want to reach out to me for that, but that's a whole nother story. But I think this answered the question. You guys probably are a little bit shocked with some of my responses in the video and the answers, but I think that nothing I said was untrue. I hope this video was helpful. Thank you for watching. I'm Dr. Smith, physical therapist. If you have any questions, comments, complaints, concerns, comment below. Hit the dislike button, but subscribe. All right, guys. Thank you for watching.